Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay, yes.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you, Mother. Good.
You sound clear.
Okay, so now.
No
Yeah,
rush.
yeah, 1 more minute. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Kadam Mini Radhika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome.
Okay. It's now 7:30. Let's start. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvardhari
Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvardhari
Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvardhari
Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girvardhari
Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Munatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Munatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Gaurani Thai, Gaurani Thai, Gaurani Thai, Jaya Gaurani Thai.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Gaurani Thai, Gaurani Thai, Gaurani Thai, Jaya Gaurani Thai.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo.
जय श्री श्री गौर निताय की
Jai.
एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शतक श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की
Jai.
जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की निताय गौ प्रेमानंद
Hari Haribo.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So, welcome to today's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam discussion on the Canto 5, Chapter 1, and Verse 2. So, I think yesterday His Holiness Krishna Chaitanya Swami Maharaja started the new canto. So, we finished Canto 4, and now we are into Canto 5. And the Canto 5 is the creative impetus, and Chapter 1 entitled The Activities of Maharaj Priyavrata, and text number 2. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam
Narayanam
Namaskritya
Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Narayanam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim
Saraswati
Vyasam
Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udhirayet
Tato
Tato
Jayamudire
Jayamudire
Prayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashta Prayeshu
Bhadreshu
Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati
Bhagavate
Uttama Sloke
Sri Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhakti Bhavati
Namaste.
Naistiki.
So let's decide this verse today. Nanunam Mukta Sanganam
Nanunam Mukta Sanganam
Nanunam Mukta Sanganam
Nanunam Mukta Sanganam
Tadrishanam Dvijarshabha
Tadrushanam Dvijarshrabha
Tadrishanam Dvijarshabha
Tadrishanam Dvijarshrabha
Griheshvabhigne Abhivigneshoyam
Griheshvabhiniveshoyam
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 Pumsam Bhavatim Tum Arhati
Pumsam Bhavitum Arhati
Pumsam Bhavitum Arhati
Pumsam Bhavitum Arhati
Nanunam Mukta Sanganam
Nanunam
Nanunam
Mukta
Mukta
Sanganam
Sanganam
Tadrishanam Dvijarshabha
Tadrisanam
Tadrishanam Dvijarshabha
Dvijarshabha
Griheshvabhiniveshoyam
Griheshvabhiniveshoyam
Pumsam Bhavitum Arhati
Pumsam Bhavitum Arhati
Arhati
Nanunam Mukta Sanganam
Nanunam Mukta
Sanganam
Sanganam
Tadrishanam Dvijarshabha
Tadrushanam
Tadrisanam
Dvijarshabha
Dvijarshabha
Griheshvabhiniveshoyam
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 Pumsam Bhavitum Arhati.
Pumsam
Bhavitam
Bhavitum
Arhati
Arhati
Samadhi.
Nanuna Mukta Sanganam
Nanunam Mukta
Nanunam
Sanganam
Sanganam
Tadashranam Dvijasharbaha
Tadrishanam
Tadrishanam
Dvijarshabha
Dvijarshabha
Kresha Abhinivishoyam
Griheshvabhiniveshoyam
Abhiniveshoyam
Pumsam Bhavitum Arhati
Pumsam
Pumsam
Bhavitum
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 Arhati.
Arhati
Arhati
Nanunam Mukta Sanganam
Nanunam
Nanunam
Mukta
Mukta
Sanganam
Sanganam
Tadrishanam Dvijarshabha
Tadrishanam
Tadrishanam
Dvijarshabha
Dvijarshabha
Vishwabhinivishoyam
Griheshvabhiniveshoyam
Abhiniveshoyam
Nam Bhavitum Arhati
Pumsam
Pumsam
Bhavitum
Bhavitum
Arhati.
Arhati
Arhati
Nanum Mukta Sanganam
Nanunam
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 Mukta
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 Sanganam
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 Tadarshanam Dvijarsabha
Tadarshanam
Darshanam
Tadrishanam
Dvijarsabha
Dvijarshabha
Dvijashabha
गृहसेवभिनिवेशोऽयम्
गृहस्वभिनिवेशोऽयम्
पुंसां भवितुम् अर्हति।
पुंसां भवितुम् अर्हति। नानूनं मुक्तसङ्गानां तादृशानां द्विजऋषभा येषु अभिनिवेशोऽयम् पुंसां भवितुम् अर्हति।
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So now we do word to word. Na, not. Nunam, certainly.
Certainly.
Mukta Sanganam,
Muktasanganam
who are free from attachment.
free from attachment.
Tadrishanam,
Tadrishanam
touch. Dvija Rishabha,
Dvijasabha
of the greatest of the Brahmanas.
of the Brahmanas.
Griheshu,
Griheshu
to family life.
to family life.
Abhiniveshaha,
Abhiniveshaha
excessive attachment.
excessive attachment.
Ayam,
Ayam
this. Pumsam,
Pumsam
of persons.
of persons.
Bhavitum,
Bhavitum
to be.
to be.
Arhati,
Arhati
is possible.
is possible.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Channanavind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Please kindly repeat after me the translation. Devotees are certainly liberated persons.
Devotees are certainly liberated persons.
Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmanas,
O greatest of the Brahmanas,
they cannot possibly
they cannot possibly
be absorbed in family affairs.
be absorbed in family affairs.
Purport will do. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that by executing devotional service to the Lord, one can understand the transcendental position of the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood by any means except bhakti. The Lord confirms this in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 11th canto, 14th chapter, 24th verse. Bhaktyaham ekaya grahaya. Only by executing devotional service, one can appreciate me. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 55th verse, Lord Krishna says, Bhaktyamam abhijanati. Simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand me. Thus, for a bhakta to become attached to family affairs is impossible. Since a bhakta and his associates are liberated, everyone is searching after ananda or bliss. But in the material world, there can never be any bliss. It is only possible in devotional service. Attachment for family affairs and devotional service are incompatible. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was somewhat surprised to hear that Maharaj Priyavrat was simultaneously attached to devotional service and to family life. So that's the end of today's purport. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll do one second the verse. Nanunam mukta sanganam tadrishanam dvijarshabha griheshva bhinivesho yam pumsam bhavitum arhati. Devotees are certainly liberated person. Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmanas, they cannot possibly absorb in family affairs. So, Hare Krishna. So, before I start today's class, I will seek this blessings of all the assembled devotees. So, I can glorify Bhagavatam. Okay, so here if you see the till Canto 4, we were discussing about the lineage of Uttanapad. We heard about starting from Dhruva Maharaj, then Prithu Maharaj, then Prachina Bharishat. So all this eventually the lineage of Uttanapad's finished. So Priyavrat till that time he was still living a life of a brahmachari, and then with the blessings, or rather with the persuasion of different devotees, and finally by Lord Brahma, Priyavrat Maharaj finally enters into the family life. So here we are seeing that Parikshit Maharaj has got very valid question. He's asking it to Shukdev Goswami that how come a devotee who is doing devotional service and family life people generally follow are incompatible, as even Prabhupada in the purport is saying these are two incompatible things. But how come Priyavrat Maharaj, who has been a devotee for so long practicing Krishna consciousness, then how he is entering? How is it possible? So uh, again in the purport, if you just read a couple of things what Prabhupada is writing, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that executing devotional service to the Lord, one can understand transcendental position. So with this we see that there is no bar for anyone from any classes or from any orders of life to do devotional service. So no one is barred. Everyone is welcome. So it's not that if a person who is a Brahmana or is a sannyasi or a particular high class devotee people only can have this opportunity to perform execute devotional service. No, it's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is clearly saying. And why we are perform devotional service? To understand our relationship. So again, if you go into our Shastras, there it says there are three things in devotional service as a sadhaka or a devotee should understand. The first thing is, who am I? Or what is our relationship with Krishna? So, and when we come to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna goes further down that even before understanding your relationship, first of all, we have to understand who we are. And even before understanding who we are, knowing who we are, we have to know who we are not. So that's why Krishna started his instructions to Arjun by saying that you are not this body, you are spirit soul. And from verse number 11, second chapter 11 verse to 30th verse, which is approximately 20 verses, where Krishna gives an elaborate uh, information about the existence of soul, what is soul look like, how does soul moves from one body to another body, and how a fixed devotee or dhira won't get disturbed when he sees any change in the body, any change of a body in a soul, because soul is ever existing. Soul can never die and body can never be protected. So soul will always remain, but body, whether how much protection we do, still it is going to destroy. So the first thing Krishna says there, and then he comes to the point. Yes, we are this soul, but after soul, after we understand who we are, I am a soul. But what is the relationship. Then the next topic with Krishna in our journey of self-discovery or SSR, we discuss that first we talk about soul, then we talk about Shastra and who is the person who created, who is managing everything, and that is God, Krishna. We start with God and then the different aspects of God, how God can be is all powerful, all pervading, is very loving, is very merciful, is forgiving everything, and then we introduce who is that person. Yes, if we say that he is not an abstract object, he is a person who is Krishna, and then we talk about Krishna, how Krishna is uh, greatest of all demigods, how is actually supreme personality of Godhead in a real sense, and then we go on to other topics. So the first thing established there is, okay, we understand who we are and who is God. Then we understand the two things. Then we have to also know what is our relationship with Krishna. So that is called Sambandha Gyan, which is our Acharya Sanatan Goswami talks about it very elaborately in when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Dashashwamedha Ghat in Banaras. The first question he asked is, who am I? So then for 10 days, Mahaprabhu instructed him in the science of the relationship of a soul to the super soul, or a living entity to Supreme Lord. So that is comprises of our relation. Then the next step, which we come in sadhana bhakti, is okay. We understand who am I, who is God, and what is our relationship. Then what I am supposed to do. What should I do? So then that is next is Abhidaya Gyan, and Abhidaya Gyan Acharya is, as we know, is Rupa Goswami, and Mahaprabhu has given elaborate instructions and shiksha to Rupa Goswami, where he talks about the aspect of devotional service, how a living entity is engaged, should be engaged in Krishna consciousness. So then that is whole discussion is about executing devotional service. And then after executing devotional service, what? So there must be some prayojana. If I am doing any activity, if you are doing something, so we also look at the result. What is that the result I am going to get, or why I am doing it in first place? So I am doing it, and then this is the result. So that is prayojana. So similarly here in the this first line where Prabhupada is saying that executing devotional service, by executing alone, one can understand the transcendental position of living being and the personality of Godhead. So that means it's very clear the other transcendentalist, where Prabhupada writes Gyanis, Dhyanis, and Yogis, even though they are doing their activity may be a transcendental, because they are not engaging in any fruitive activities or material activities, but they are bereft of the knowledge of understanding the position of a living entity and the Supreme Lord. And as we see here, Prabhupada quoted two verses. One is Bhagavatam, one is from Śrīmad-Bhāgavad-Gīta. Bhaktyaham ekaya griya. Only by executing devotional service, one can appreciate me. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhaktyama abhijanati. So through bhakti, one understand. One can know Krishna. When a living entity performs, when a soul performs devotional service, when a sadhaka performs devotional service, he can only understand Krishna. And Bhagavatam goes one more level, where it says that one, after executing devotional service, one can appreciate Krishna. Because when a devotee is performing devotional service and he is getting newer and newer experiences or realizations while he's performing devotional service, and then as his bhakti is getting more matured through the time, by the passage of time, by the intensity of his bhakti, he actually understands, he actually realizes that how great is Supreme Lord, how every aspect of the Lord is so great. Still, he is very magnanimous and is very merciful. Like in Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, 29th verse, Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So these two lines, when we see, we can understand the Lord is very great. He is supreme. Bhoktaram Yagnatapasam. I am the enjoyer of everything, all the sacrifice, all the austerities, all our activities pertaining. It's all going to Krishna. He is the Bhoktaram. He is the enjoyer, and he is the supreme controller of every living being, every entity, even every planet and universe. When we hear these two, it's like there is a huge gap between living entity and the Supreme Lord. But the third line, when Krishna says, Suhrudam Sarvat Bhutanam, so he says, I am the best well wishing friend to everybody. So immediately from that greatness, from that, like, we are very far when we see here, read these two lines, we think that there's a huge difference, gap between us and Krishna. But the third line completely eradicates that gap. And Krishna not only becomes just any friend, but he's Suhrudam. Suhrudam means someone is very close to heart. Yes, one is very close in the sense we know that the super soul is sitting within the region of heart. That is also, in a way, we can say it's grossly is there, but actually, when we say Suhrudam means very close, means even though we may be anywhere, any farther, but Krishna is always with us. Like in the pastime of Draupadi, when Draupadi was seeking for protection for Lord immediately, when she completely surrendered, Lord immediately appeared in the form of that unending sari and protecting her uh, respect. So Krishna is, at the same time, he may be great in many aspects, but the Vaishnavism, it talks about Krishna's the greatest aspect, which is Krishna is very, very dear friend to everybody. And that dear friend is like, that's why he's living in the region, he's staying in the region, residing there, just to waiting for us to turn to him. So we are like that shloka where Prabhupada quotes, there are two birds sitting on a tree. One bird is eating constantly, engaging in the eating, enjoying the fruits. The other bird is just watching, watching, watching all through life. Like for us also, Krishna has been watching for millions of lifetimes, millions and millions of lifetimes. He's just waiting, waiting, waiting. And when the bird, after eating, tasting some nice fruit, or sometimes having a very bad experience of a fruit, then when the living entity gets frustrated, he turns to Krishna. The moment he turns, then Krishna immediately is there to guide us in the form of within, he in the form as a Paramatma, and without as a Guru or a devotees who approach, who goes to different person. Suddenly people are looking for something when they are really depressed in their life. They are kind of uh, contemplating on committing suicide, ending their life. Suddenly a devotee appears with a book of Prabhupada. And we know there are many Sankirtan stories where a person, people are committing suicide. I think one story I know that one devotees, I think in India, they were distributing books and they went into these apartments. There are in India, particularly in Bombay and Delhi, there are many apartments, like tall apartments where there are hundreds of units are there in each apartment. So these devotees thought, if we get into one apartment, there are 10, 12, 15, 20 levels. Each level has got 10 apartments. If you units, then it will be like 200 units in one building. So somehow this one of the devotee enters there and he was continuously knocking. He knocked the door, no response. Then again he knocked another, once again, no response. But somehow some devotees are very, you can say that very inspired, that he don't want to give up. The devotee was continuously knocking. Probably he was thinking that the person inside might not heard. He might be in a bathroom, or he might be very far where the sound is not going. He constantly knocking the door, knocking the door, knocking the door, and then suddenly when the door opens, there is one lady standing. I may be wrong. It may be a lady or a man. I don't know. But one person opens the door and says, "Why don't you understand? For so long you're knocking, and if I'm not opening, why?" Why don't you understand? I'm not interested. But still, sometimes devotees, as I said, they are very, in a way, in a good way, it's very pushy. He says, actually, this is a very special month, and we brought these books to wonderful people, like distributing in this apartment, people like you. Why don't you take one? And this person was really uh, not interested, because he has something else planning. And then in the discussion, when he made that person to open the book, and somehow he read, and when he's reading, he read about the soul. Soul is never ending. It's the body ends something, and it's touched that person's so moved him that he actually took this person inside, the devotee inside, and said, "You know what I was doing?" And he showed that there was a rope which is hanging on from the ceiling, and he was trying to commit suicide. And but that one particular devotee, he went and knocked the door. He was and gave this book, and see, mystically, Krishna brought this thing which is very important for this person to know, and Krishna appeared that in that page, and that person just reading one of those lines changed his. Now, why I'm saying this? So even this person may be committing, but he might have had some sukriti, or somewhere he has done something to some kind of service unknowingly, and Krishna desired that this person should not end his life like this. And we know when someone commits suicide, what happens? They go into very pitiable. They have to live a very pitiable life for a long time in the form of a ghost or hobgoblins, and uh, with the mercy of Lord Shiva, he gives the womb where the person, when they are engaging in a the union in a wrong time, then they enter into that man's body, and then eventually from there to women's body, like that. But until then, these people are living as a ghost, which is a very, very painful life. People, no one want to live, because in ghosts, they just see and they can only feel pain. They cannot feel anything positive, unfortunately. So, but Krishna, with very nice, when he saw that this person is ending, it should not, his end should not be like this, and he arranged someone. So, similarly, many devotees, they are going through some trouble. Those who became devotees later, but when they were not devotees, they may have some problems. Recently, we are doing one program in North Side. We met one person, and he's probably in middle age, and he says that his wife, his family is not very interested. But he said, I have lived my life with family. Now I want to live for myself. And he said, it doesn't matter my family cooperates or not. I will still I will still follow this. Whatever you say, whatever is needed to be done, chanting 60 notes, done. Reading Bhagavad Gita, done. Studying Bhagavatam, actually, within a very short time, he asked that, yes, I want to take Bhagavatam, and I want you to come and install. And we did the installation there. And I was surprised at what made him to take so quickly. Sometimes in preaching, we see that it takes years and years for people to actually come to the level of chanting one round. And this person is like almost already perfectly packed and brought to us by Krishna. Then when we asked, he said actually he was he worked as a in a company, and after that he felt that I want to become I want to enter into army defense. And as I said, he was in like late 40s that age, and when he entered into army, some was selected, and for 3 months he has to go through a very rigorous training, and very soon he realized that this is not for him. And because he was selected, and he cannot go, he cannot turn back, unfortunately. And he was praying so badly that Krishna, please get. Of course, that time he don't know much about Krishna, but he was praying God that please get me out. I really don't want to get into it. And obviously, there are other reasons. Probably he don't want to continue, and he want to go back to family. And then he realized, and suddenly his own boss said that, okay, whatever training you have done, we are okay. unless if you want to come every year and do that 60 days of training, you'll get that pay. Otherwise, you don't get pay. Some arrangement was there. He said, I don't want to come back. Please relieve me. And somehow that generally doesn't happen. Once you are in, you are in. But in his case, he got the excuse. And because the time he spent there, the things he has gone through, because he's a vegetarian, so whatever he has gone through, it's not, he couldn't appreciate it. Yes, I want to serve the nation, not as an, I can serve nation, not just as an army in a defense, but I can serve nation in many other ways. So he has realization and done, but he couldn't get out. But when he was praying so hard, finally, his prayer was answered. And he now very seriously is practicing devotional service. He's one person, he comes from the day one when we started this program, is there every week without missing it. Now we are almost 2 months. So every week he comes. And in between, whenever you have festival in the temple, he's coming. Generally, it is the growth, when I see his devotional growth, is very steep. Generally, very rarely we get to see that kind of progress in bhakti. So the point I'm saying is because Krishna, when he inspires devotees from within, like even Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 16th verse, where Krishna says, 4 types of people come to him. So, Artho, Jignasur, Artharthi, Jnanicha, Bhartarshava. So, 4 types of people. So, but even though people have this some expectation, it is not ahaituki or bhakti, but they are still coming to Krishna, and Krishna accepts. And when they come once and they, because maybe some expectation, they are very depressed or distressed in situation, or they want to remove this distress, so they go to Krishna, or they want some money or artha, then they go to Krishna, or they want, very inquisitive, they are gyanis, whatever way, yena kina prakarana, if anyone goes to Krishna, we may have material attachments, material things, expectations, material desires, but the person we are approaching is a spiritual personality, so he purifies. Like in the example of Dhruva Maharaj, we see that he was initially was very materially desired, triggered person. He wanted material thing, a greater kingdom, biggest kingdom than his great grandfather. But through bhakti, by performing bhakti, that all those things gets purified. And he said, when Lord appeared, he said, I don't want anything. But because he has a desire before he was purified, so Krishna still blessed him. So the good point for a devotee, so from this we learn that there is no bar, like a personality like Dhruva, and then who is obviously a son of a emperor, but there are personalities like very low class, like there is one great personality in a great devotee in Sri Sampradaya. He was from a lower family, but because he's very nicely built, so he was a wrestler for a king. And because in olden days kings used to have this uh, uh, fights with they want to enjoy the fight of wrestler, and they pay huge sum of money. And because he was very strong, so he was winning and he got lot of wealth, and he got such a great wealth, and then he became a very popular person, and he got married. Some places it says that he got married, or some says she was still his lover, and he was so infatuated with the beauty of his lover that he was serving her like a menial servant. He was so infatuated with the beauty of her eyes. He used to carry umbrella with one hand and he used to fan her with another hand. Whenever she goes into the streets, when she's walking, she's going for shopping or somewhere. So he used to walk in opposite direction and doing this. And one fine day, the procession of Lord Ranganath was going through the streets, and everyone was coming in one direction. He's going in opposite. And people were very disgusted, saw that what is this nonsense this person is doing. There is a beauty of nice, beautiful deities, Ranganath, and they are coming out, and Lord is coming, and his person is so engrossed in the beauty of this earthly lady, mortal lady. But everyone was thinking, judging him, but Ramanujacharya thought, took pity on him that this person is very, looks, he has got something very strong, that he is so focused in his service or in his attraction to this lady. Ramanujacharya thought that if the same attraction, if it's the same focus, if the same way, the way he's serving, if it is directed to Krishna, he'll become a great devotee. And then Ramanujacharya sent his disciple to call him, and his name was Dhanurdas, the person who is carrying this umbrella. And Dhanurdas goes to Ramanujacharya, and Ramanujacharya asks, what do you do? What are you doing it? When everyone is having darshan of deities, you are having, don't you feel ashamed? Then this person says, no, I can't. The beauty of the eyes of my lover was so beautiful that I cannot move my eyes for a second anywhere else. Then Ramanacharya challenges him. Okay, if I show you the eyes much more beautiful than that lady, what would you do? He says, I will serve that personality. And then Ramanacharya took him to the temple deity, and he showed him the beautiful eyes of Ranganath, and he was completely attracted to the beauty of Lord Ranganath's eyes, and he became a great devotee. So there, even though it says that he was from a lower family, but Ramanacharya used to consider him even higher than his own Brahman disciples. So sometimes Brahman disciples were very upset that Guru Maharaj is giving too much undue attention to this person who is not from a Brahman family, who is a married person, who is so um, attached to material things. But our Guru is giving too much, so they used to feel envious. So like this, people from very any background, it may be even in the form of Gajendra, what to speak of human or human form, men and women, but even child like Dhruva Maharaj, animal like uh, Gajendra, anyone can serve the Lord. And by this service, by this attraction of devotional service, which is the ultimate goal of every living entity, unless we come to know that what is our purpose of life, our life is lived it goes in waste. Like in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it says, Vishvaksena Kathasuya, no Utpadyadiratim, Shrama Evi Kevalam. So, if we perform our occupational duties, our work, our whatever family affairs, everything we do it, but by doing those things, if we don't get any attraction to hear the glories of the Lord, then that life is wasted. Shramayev Kevalam. Whereas a devotee, Atha Pumbir Dvija Shrestha, Varnashrama Vibhagasha, Swanustitastas Dharmasya, Sham Siddhir Haritoshanam. So, whereas a devotee, when this Varnashrama, when it's the 4 Varnas and 4 ashramas are divided, but in this division, if one understands Dharma and serve the Lord, then that activity which pleases the Lord, that is a success. That is the purpose of human life. Otherwise, as I said, it's Samayeva Kevalam. Our all efforts, we may have huge success in life, lived a very great life, built a huge empire. But if our devotion, our life has no purpose of serving the Lord, understanding the real purpose of life, then that life is wasted. Like many, I think after one of the politician died, one of the devotees mentioned, even though he's a great politician in this life, but he took a form of a dog. Now, that is still, dog is much better, but today if you see the politicians, the way they stoop down to such a great level, but so what is what is remaining for them in the next life? They will have to take birth as a very, very abominable condition. But at least if someone has taken birth in a dog family, still is better if you consider from other living entities. So either Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, because it's philosophical, so Krishna straight he talks about bhakti, and it says you should do bhakti, and through bhakti only one can understand. And there are many verses. But when we come to Bhagavatam, it not only talks philosophy, but it also talks about how to perform bhakti. And that's why we have got so many great personalities in Bhagavatam, right from Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, then Lord Ramachandra. There are so many personalities. We hear the stories uh, of these great devotees. Why, one, to understand what is bhakti and how to perform bhakti. And the other thing is, when we are performing bhakti, the bhakti should be, it's pure. It should not be tinged with any fruitive activity, expectations or philosophical speculation, which is Anyavilashata Shunyam, Gnana Karma Dhanavritam, Anukulena Krishnanushilinam Bhakti Ruttama. So the bhakti should be without any desire of any upadhi, any designations, any status, any those stuff, and no expectation of fruitive results, no mental speculation, and that should be performed anukulya. It should not. It should be anukul bhakti by pleasing to the Lord. Sometimes some personalities have pleased Lord in a pratikul way, like for example Kamsa or Hiranyakashipu. A good example is when Hiranyakashipu was fighting, he fought so. The fight was so great that Narsingadev felt very happy, and says in I think in Narsingha Purana, in one of the class I was hearing by His Holiness Bhakti Rasayan Sagar Swami, he was saying that Narsingadev was fighting very seriously, and Hiranyakashipu was thinking it's a great fight, very serious. And after fighting for a long time, Narsingadev roared. Actually, that roar was his laugh. When lion also laughs, it's a kind of roar only. But then Hiranyakashipu thought that I am giving this tough fight, thinking that this is serious, but this fight is not serious for this person whom I am fighting. So even though Narsingadev was happy, he loved, but that kind of fire, that kind of bhakti is not, that is pratikul. Pratikul way, the bhakti should not be performed. Yes, they are great devotees. Lord has some plan for them, so he has done it. But as a devotees, we should do anukul bhakti. Whatever is anukul is simple, whatever our acharyas or latest or Prabhupada has given in the books, we follow that instructions. And then after Prabhupada, of course, many of us have not had darshan of Prabhupada physically. We are seeing him in the form in the temple or in the books, but we have his great examples like his disciples who are visiting, who are the disciples or grand disciples or great grand disciples, with whom we can take such a great inspiration how to perform a bhakti which is untinged with any of these material things. So when we do that kind of bhakti, so then whether a person is a grahastha or is a sannyasi or is a vanaprastha or is a student or is a man or woman or an animal or a child, it doesn't matter. That is the that is the perfection of human life. Similarly, here in the words, we see the very valid point. Parikshit Maharaj is asking how come such a great devotee like Priyatu Maharaj has entered, Priyavrat Maharaj entered into family life. So it says that even though he's a great devotee, he entered in family life, but he still maintains his devotional aspects, and he took this wife or family also as a service. Like in our great Acharya Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, he had 13 kids. And he says, after performing, because he is doing devotion, his wife is devotion, he's doing devotion, and kids are doing perfect devotion. So in one of the poems, he says that when I come to my home, I see that whole house is transformed into a spiritual world, Vaikunta, and everybody in my home are Vaikunta Vasis. So that means a person who is in devotion, marriage life, still he can be a pure devotee. And obviously in retired life or in devotional final renunciation life, we can still do devotion. There is no bar. So here Priyavrat Maharaj is showing another example that he lived such a long life as a brahmachari, continued the brahmachari, but for a higher purpose, because that's why the great personalities from higher planets also came to convince him, persuade him to get married. That was a purpose he engaged in, and then after doing it, because he has got so many years of tapasya, he has done it, his devotional tapasya. So even when he entered family life, he remained very devoted. So similarly, we all can take the great inspiration from personalities like him and Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj, even though they had so many commitments, so many family affairs, so many worldly duties, but still they remain this exemplified pure devotional. So similarly, we can take inspiration and we can engage in bhakti at the same time doing our addressing our family life activities. So with this, I'll stop here. If anyone has any comments, any questions, any corrections, please go ahead. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mukunda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Nice, very nice class, Prabhu, pointing out how Grihasthas can maintain their spirituality even though they are in the Grihastha life. And very nice examples, Prabhu.
Mm.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribol Prabhu, thank you for class. That was a really nice class, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. I guess while you were talking, I was trying to think about some of the language that you were using around devotional service and what that looks like for us. And that's really nice. It's really important to keep thinking about what our service looks like and to be encouraged to keep practicing it. And of course, your class was really lovely about about how the practice of service is so important for us to come to know God. So, thank you, Prabhu. Lovely class.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Oh,
very
Hare
nice class.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you very much for, it's always nice and your practical examples about devotional service. And in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, as we always hear, even Dhruva Maharaj, he was after some material desire to, greatest kingdom about from his great grandfather even. But when Lord, he saw the Lord and all his desires, he was not even interested in anything. But Lord told him that, he asked him to live for 36,000 years to enjoy the material benefits. So it's Lord's desire when a devotee has material opulences that Lord wants them to use, those opulences. But in fact, the devotee may be externally that he's enjoying the material benefits, but internally he's very much absorbed in Lord's, in the devotional service, and externally we see he's enjoying. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Wonderful class.
Thank you, Mataji. So we'll stop here. Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki
Jai.
Jai.
Guru Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Gaur Premanandi.
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
His Grace Mukund Prabhu ki
Gaur
Jai.
Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.